All right, welcome everybody to Win with Sellers. My name's Tony Ragazzi. I am your host. I always feel like Rourke from Fantasy Island when I say that. So, a little bit about me. I'm the director of training here at Keller Williams. I am also a mentor. I've been doing this. September of this year actually makes 35 years. I've been doing this as well as training. So, done quite a bit in my career, as you can see, and I'm still in production to this day. So as always, we want to start with mindset models. And what I want you to do is I want you to imagine yourself, no matter what point in your career you're at, imagine yourself a year from today and you walk into your office on a Monday morning and you see a stack of leads you need to call. You call everyone and you connect with them effortlessly. You're saying the right things. Hey, how can I help? You're confident you're going to set appointments with the vast majority of them. Okay. After the end of your calls, you got 5 appointments booked and a good follow-up plan for the rest. Okay. You've already done your homework for all of these sellers and have an idea of your pricing strategy and your marketing strategy for each one. All of your appointments go well. You signed all but one. You just didn't feel you were going to be a great match, so you refer them to another agent. Hey, get a referral fee, right? 4 new clients in a week is a big win for anybody. So now your motivation's high. You have 2 closings that day too. Who wouldn't be motivated by that, right? Now, does that happen every day? No. Can that happen? Yes, it happens to me. Okay. How do you get there from here? Okay, that's what we're going to explore. Why are you here? So I want you to think for a minute and read this. When you interview the very top people, which is what Gary Keller does, and ask them what their biggest challenge is, almost always they're going to tell you it's mindset. It's the hardest thing to master, and it's the biggest thing we need to master, and it's the one thing we have total control of. Probably the only thing we have total control of. Keeping it strong, focused, and positive amid the many challenges that we encounter every day on our way to the top and staying there. Okay? It's not leads, it's mindset. So think about what you enjoy most about working with sellers. And I want you to take a second and write it down. I want you to go a step further and think about the challenges you have or you think you may have if you haven't worked with sellers yet. We're in March currently, so you should already have a business plan created. What is your business goal for the listing side of your business this year? And how are you going to know when you've achieved it? And we'll give you a minute to do that. If you're watching this on video, you can simply pause and write this down. We'll pick up in a moment. Now, agents who typically succeed at a high level with sellers are persistent, dedicated, and most importantly, consistent in their business. We've worked with enough sellers to be able to handle and anticipate almost every type of scenario. Yeah. I've done over 2,400 transactions. I've seen almost everything. I'll never say I've seen everything because I get surprised all the time. Okay. But I've seen enough to where I know how to handle it. I know if I don't have an immediate answer, I know where I can get it from. And I know, and I'm equipped with people around me that are persistent and consistent enough to where they can get me the proper answer. So what we do on a daily basis is prioritize and manage leads. Okay. We get to know our sellers. We facilitate decisions. At times we simply tell them what to do. I tell my clients what to do, and most of them follow what I say and are very happy for it. I'm not a dictator. Case by case basis, I'll explain myself to the extent necessary to get them to follow my lead. They hire a coach for accountability or for training. I'm going to use coach and mentor interchangeably, even though their function is slightly different. A coach is not a mentor, but a mentor is a coach. They know their numbers. Yeah. I know last year I did 31 transactions for slightly over $15 million in volume. My volume was horrible. Okay. I know I did 48 the year before. I know I did 35 before that. I can go back a few years and I know my numbers because you can only know where you're going if you know where you've been. Time management. One of my biggest problems for many years. Okay. And I've overcome most of it. The more efficiently and effectively we use our time, the bigger our business is going to be, the more successful we're going to be. Whatever that number or that vision looks like for you, time management honestly should be number one on this list. This isn't by order of importance, but I think that's the most important. They leverage technology. I was just having this conversation this morning with some newer agents that, the concept of a mega agent didn't exist 35 years ago when I started, because we didn't have the data to do those kind of transactions. If you did 8 or 9 deals a year, you were a mega agent. Today, if you do 8 or 9 deals a year, you're still a successful agent. But a mega agent is roughly classified as 20 deals a year or more. But we have the data. So I grew up in life and as an agent in the Whittier-La Habra area, and I was a member of the Whittier District Board of Realtors. And I had data, MLS data for Whittier, La Habra, La Mirada, parts of Pico Rivera, few streets in Downey, and pieces of Hacienda and Roland Heights. That was it. I couldn't show Brea. Had different lockbox key. It had different MLS. I had to go to the North Orange County board and sign out and borrow a book and a key just to be able to show Brea. So today, much different. Our MLS pretty much covers 95% of the 4-county area, and we have partnership agreements with many other areas. I currently have an escrow in Sebastopol in the wine country area, and I was able to do a very good CMA because I could access the MLS in Sonoma County. So technology is a huge add to our business. And finally, embrace the 6 personal perspectives. Again, that is a separate course. It's one I take every year. Colleen Rogers teaches it, and of course, she's phenomenal. Everybody knows how much I love Colleen. And it's very, very important. So we'll touch on pieces of the 6 personal perspectives throughout each class. You'll be able to become familiar with them and hopefully incorporate them into your business. So, but success ultimately is going to begin with our proven models. Okay. Creativity is great. People get into this business to be an entrepreneur. The word drives me crazy. Entrepreneur, most people think of as flying by the seat of your pants. Okay, well, models is what Gary Keller built and has passed down to us in the form of the MREA. And it's a proven model that works. So that is the foundation and the basis of our business. And we use the triangle because the triangle or pyramid is a very stable model if you put models as your base and creativity on top. If we flip it, as you can see from the graph, not stable at all, right? I'll also use the same graph with prospecting and marketing. Replace models with prospecting and creativity with marketing. It's the same thing. So if you go to page 11 in your workbook, you have this wonderful graph, the 7-step seller service model, seller service cycle model. Say that 3 times fast. And this is what we're going to go through today. Lead conversion, pre-listing, your listing consultation or presentation, servicing and marketing the listing, offers and negotiation, contract to close, and then what we do afterwards. And that's where a lot of people fail. Oops. So, you ready to win with sellers? I want you to really think of where you're at today in your business, okay? Whether you're a brand new agent that's never done a transaction, a newer agent that's done a couple, 3, 4, or a mega agent. This class is designed for everybody. Okay. On page 13 of your workbook, I want you to check what you currently do. Do you time block and lead generate for 3 hours a day minimum? So I'm going to tell you, if you don't have any business, lead generate for 8 hours a day. You don't have anything else to do. If you want to be a success in this business, that is. Do you have a database of nets, people you've already met, people who already know, like, and trust you, and past clients, if that's the case, and consistently communicate with them, because they do you no good if they're just sitting in your phone or in command and you don't talk to them. Because if you're not talking to them, I guarantee you somebody else is. Have you taken bold at least once? Do you use any of the scripts from there? Do you use any scripts? Everybody knows I'm not a big script hound, but they have their place. If you don't know what to say, if you have starting is the hardest part. If you have no idea how to start this conversation, scripts are a great place to start. Learn them, make them your own, make them how you talk so they're comfortable for you, because people don't like to be scripted. Have you been in business 2 years or more and consistently closed 16 or more seller sides per year? That's hard to do. I don't even do that every year. Do you use the KW Tech in your business? I'll be very blunt. You're a fool if you don't. It's virtually free and it works. Do you have a business website that attracts and captures customer inquiries? Our website does that. Do you use social media? Social media is so prevalent in our society, it's kind of silly not to. Even I do it. Do you have goals for appointments and listings that you need per day, per week, per month? If you're in mentorship, you do, because that's one of the first things we do. If you attend business planning, either with me or with Colleen, you should, because that's what we do there. Are you immersed in your market center? Would you recognize your DFI if you saw her? That's important. Good things happen in the market center. I can't stress that enough. You will not be as successful working from home. As convenient as it is, I personally can't work from home. Too many distractions. Have you attended Mega Camp or Family Reunion? Everybody should attend Family Reunion. Mega Camp is very, very similar, although they're tweaking it up right now. but it's designed for mega agents or agents in production that want to take their business to that level. So either or in my case, or in my opinion. Do you have a MAPS coach? Okay. I've had a MAPS coach. They're worth their weight in gold. If you really need accountability, and some people do, they're phenomenal at it. Otherwise, mentorship is definitely the way to go. But you should have one or the other. So I want you to think about your listing appointments that you've had. What did you do to enable your success if you've had it? Think about the appointments that failed. Okay. I don't get every listing either. I do have a great conversion ratio. I haven't gotten 2 out of the last 3 I've been on. I can't remember the last time that's happened, but it happened. What did you do that enabled the failure? Or what didn't you do? Do you have any limiting beliefs? We all have them. But do you have any that keep you from the goal of changing your actions? And how do you redirect those? So much of what a coach does is handling limiting beliefs that we all have. One moment, please. I'm going to pause my recording. So anyway, so hopefully you've had a chance to fill out this page, okay, and address what you did or did not do.
Tony, can you email us the workbook so we can complete that?
Not going to go through the prisoner, because again, this is a shortened version of Win with Sellers. So let's talk real quick about conversion ratios. Okay. We talked about converting contacts to leads, leads to appointments, and appointments to contracts. Okay, in our case here, listing contracts. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Yes, let me email you that. I'm gonna pause. Okay, so these are the 3 conversion numbers that matter. All right, chapter 1, lead conversion. We're getting to know our numbers and our lead conversion model. Okay. So if you've done business yet, I want you to fill this in and calculate what your conversion ratio is. How many leads, okay, I'm sorry, how many contacts create a lead? Now, everybody, it seems, defines a lead slightly different. I define a lead as someone that I'm going to do business with in the next 6 months. Some people go a little shorter than that. Some people go longer than that. For me, it works at 6 months. Okay, leads to appointments. Appointments, easy to define. Listings, easy to define from there. Now, this ratio is going to vary depending on a variety of factors. Skill level is a big factor. I mean, it's not uncommon for a new agent that hasn't done this before to be no higher than a 50% conversion ratio. My conversion ratio is, depending on the market, anywhere from 75 to 95%. So skill is a big factor. Yeah, but simply a willing buyer or a willing seller is also a big factor. It depends on where you're fishing. Yeah. You're going to see this graph a lot in your Keller Williams career. And this is on page 20 of your workbook. Leads, listings, and leverage. Okay. These are the three things we need for a functional business. This is on page 192 of the MREA book. Another droplet from Gary: to succeed in real estate, you must have client leads, period. End of story. Until you have enough leads to meet or exceed your goals, there is no other issue. So I won't even read the rest of it, which is why lead generation is your main priority, whether you're at day one in the business, or 35 years in the business. Without leads, we have no business. And this isn't just brand new to you leads. This, in my case, would be creating leads from a database of people I already know, and in many cases have already done business with, whether it's them or somebody they know. So without this, we're out of business. So pre-qualifying a listing lead. What we want and what we get are two different things, right? We want people at the intersection of this graph, willing to take action now, financially able to complete the transaction now, and ready and motivated to make those decisions now. Okay. So Tony DiCello, who is VP of Maps and is still involved with Maps, actually Diana Kokoska's husband, was a mega agent in his own right. If you're doing that level of business, 200, 300 deals a year, you can't follow a lead for 14 days. You don't have time to. Okay. None of us on this video are doing 200 and 300 deals a year. So guess what? We can follow a lead for 14 days. Yeah. 30 days, 60 days. But the busier you are, the shorter your definition of a lead. So again, I did 31 deals last year, and I'm defining it as 6 months. Yeah. I'm also somewhat relentless about it. So I'm always going to be a little bit longer than the norm. I just don't like to let business go. But sometimes you have to. But not on the bottom of this page, not gauging client ability, readiness, and willingness correctly is going to mess you up, and it's going to cost you time. Exactly, Stefan. An unchangeable moving date, though, will trump everything else. Somebody who's getting kicked out of their rental on April 30th, guess what? They gotta go now. They can't afford to be as picky as they would like to be because the time trumps everything else. They might not even be financially ready as they would like to, but guess what? I love a challenge. I can figure out a way to make it work. Again, they're not necessarily going to be all warm and fuzzy about it. My job is to make them as warm and fuzzy as possible about it, because they have the time factor that trumps everything. So I define, and the MREA defines an A, B, and C lead. Actually, I don't define this. I go 30, 60, 90 with it. They do 14, 60, and beyond. So entirely up to you how you will define and pursue a lead. But we do want to classify them as A, B, and C, because that's going to be the important scale. My A leads have all my attention. They call, unless I'm teaching class, what I do gets put on hold, and that's the call I take. B leads, they're second place. C leads, they can leave a message, I'll get back to them. So high production listing agents, and again,
Tony,
you
can you hear
hear, I say this till I'm blue in the face, success leaves clues. Okay. In each one of our offices, we have high producing listing agents doing killer business, and most are willing to share what they do. And we all do things a little bit differently. If it was that easy, anybody can do it. So what do the highest production listing agents do? They do very productive lead gen, first and foremost. They generate leads that meet their definition of a lead. I'll get to your question in a second, Quan. Feed, organize, and grow their database every single day. Have an effective touch plan. And I can't stress this enough, follow up on leads. The fortune is in the follow-up. So Quan asked, how do you classify? Well, a simple conversation with the lead is going to reveal that. One of the things I ask every lead is not just where you're going, why you're going. Why is extremely important, probably the most important question you can ask, but when do you got to be there? Okay. When do you got to be there? When do you want to be there? Sometimes it's one or the other. Okay. And based on that, that's how you classify the A, B, or C. Yeah. I've got a client that I met with around Christmas time. Great buyers, great people. They're not in a hurry. Payment and location are more important than time, even if rates go up, which they have. So they're a C client by definition. Just opened escrow on one earlier this month, 7 days after I met him for the first time. Yeah, he needs to be out of his place by the end of April. Yeah, so a quick conversation will reveal that. Now, by now, most of you that have been with us for a few months are familiar with the lead conversion model. If you're not, here it is. We talk about the funnel all the time. Top of the funnel is capture. We want to capture as many as we can because by the time we get to connect, we're only connecting with a small percentage. And that connect conversation, it's always a conversation, establishing a relationship. And then they're going to go one of two ways: cultivate and nurture, or you get to close to an appointment. Listing appointment, buyer's consult. Okay. And the difference is after the appointment, the cultivate is always there. But then the appointment will likely end up in a contract. If it doesn't, then it goes back up to cultivate. If it goes to contract, once the contract closes, then it goes to cultivate again. Cultivate and nurture. So we're always closing for an appointment or a referral, usually an appointment. One of the biggest keys we call speed to lead. Be fast. Okay. Open house is a good example of this. You're holding open house and you make a great connection, but you don't follow up till a week later. I guarantee you, yours isn't the only open house they went to that day, and some other agent followed up first. So you lost an opportunity. Capture valid and complete contact information. If you use one of these at your open houses, yeah, make sure it's legible before they leave. I mean, I write like a 3-year-old, and a lot of people do, or they're in a hurry, or they don't want to give you valid information. Confirm it. You know, if you're able to build any kind of rapport at all, confirm that so that you can follow up on it. Determine their motivation. All comes down to motivation. If they're not motivated, they won't do business with you. And then convert it to appointment. Get them a pre-listing package or move straight to a listing appointment. Since we're just dealing with sellers here. And always do things that strengthen the relationship. And we do that by providing value. Okay. Getting to the table first is what matters. Okay. Yeah. Makes conversion more important than the presentation even. Okay. And this is based on numbers. We know our numbers. The competitive battle is almost single-handedly won by simply getting an appointment before somebody else does. I know if I get in there first, they're not going to even talk to somebody else. I also know that if I get in there first, they're comparing them to me, and I will more than likely win that battle every time. But if you know what to say, and I hesitate to say know your scripts because there are scripts for this too on how to close for the contract. And I've done this where they've got an appointment 2 hours after I'm supposed to be leaving, but I'm walking out of there with a contract and they're canceling that appointment. Or even better, I'll cancel it for you. Because people hate being the bearers of bad news. So capture. Once you have that information, whether it's open house, wherever you're getting the lead from, get it into command right away. Get them on a smart plan right away, an appropriate smart plan. Okay. No lead is captured until you have contact information so that you are in control of when and how often you touch. So opportunities with seller leads include winning the listing, of course. All sellers are buyers first, so they're not going to sell unless they know where they're going. You might represent them there or refer them if it's too far outside of your coverage area. Job relocation sellers usually are very, very motivated. Investor sellers, hey, those are almost always a twofer because they've got to move that money and they're usually moving it into another property. Oh. So on page 26, the section called 10 Days of Pain. Okay. We all know we respond more to pain than we do pleasure. So for 10 straight days, email your lead and seek to capture information about when they plan to sell, when they plan to make an appointment, or when they plan to give you a referral. As soon as the seller contacts you, respond with an email or call, thank them for their interest, and send them daily emails on what they're looking for. It's a great strategy. And it's going to weed out the uninterested. Connecting with your seller leads. I'm a little ahead on the PowerPoint. I apologize. There we go. This is going to lay a foundation for your relationship. Okay. Your goal is to build trust and establish rapport. Okay. Confidence is important. Professionalism is important, but also be you. You're not selling them. You're simply providing value. Okay. What we have to remember in this entire business, it's not about me, it's about you. Okay. As long as that is your MO, your chances of success are magnified. If you're in conversation and they're still not spilling the details, and some people play things very close to the vest. I do like the script. I'm a professional and my goal is to sell your house for the best price quickly with the least amount of trouble to you. Like your doctor or any other professional, I've got to ask questions to understand your situation well enough that I can give you the best advice. I really need you to be very forthcoming with me. Okay. Not pushing that far will likely, not could, will likely cause you to lose the lead. So one of the ways we connect, and it's on page 28 of your workbook, is communication styles. Okay. And in bold, we talk about mirroring and matching. Yeah, kind of doing what they do, follow their lead. If they sit back, you sit back. If they lean in, you lean in. Okay. Don't like make every move they make. That's annoying. I've seen agents do that. I'm like, no, stop. Okay. But that's very effective. Understand the 4 basic communication styles and be prepared to match those as much as you can. The assertive, the sociable, the structured, and the steady. This is pretty loosely based off Tony Robbins' DISC profile. So you can tell by me by now, this far into class, and especially if you've taken other classes, I'm not high energy, bouncing off the walls, talking real quick. Okay, that's not who I am. I'm going to drive the client that is that way, though. I'm going to drive him nuts. So I've got to turn up the knob a little bit and start talking a little bit faster and move a little bit faster and kind of try to keep up pace with their freneticness. Okay, otherwise I'm going to turn them off. By the same token, if you are that frenetic person and your client is, laid back Tony Spicoli, he's going to drive you crazy too, but you're going to totally turn him off. So then you turn the volume down a little bit and lay back and, enunciate a little bit better, slow, be very intentional about slowing your pace down. So in a nutshell, that's what that is. And on page 31 is what we used to call a take sheet. And it's kind of, I used to use one of these before I had it all memorized. My buyer presentation is not on paper. I bring a notepad. Okay. But I do want to know pretty much all of these questions. So these are questions that I'm going to ask. One, I don't care about as much, but it would be nice to know if I don't already. How did you find me? Who told you about me? I want to thank them. Okay, that's the main reason why. Or I want to know if my advertising's working or my marketing's working. So Mr. Buyer, where are you moving to? Or Mr. Seller, rather, where are you moving to? Okay. Why do you need to go there? When do you have to be there? Okay. I will never ask number 5 because to me that's just obnoxious as hell. Because based on question number 4, we can kind of figure out when they need to list. What would happen if your home doesn't sell? That's a very valid question because we're dealing with sellers that sometimes will want to overprice the property. Number 7, how much do you want to list your home for? I need to know that information. I usually put it, do you have a price in mind already? Some people, everybody does. Some people will tell me most want to wait for me to give their price just to see how close they are. How much do you owe on the property? I can usually get close by looking up public records and just going backwards with an amortization calculator. I can figure that out. But again, things can happen off record to change that. So the net sheet that I prepare, if I'm not really sure about that amount, I'm not going to put an amount in, and they're going to have to deduct what they owe from the bottom line on the net sheet. I'll be sending you a packet of information, and that this is a pre-listing package. Would you take a minute to review it before we meet? And if you've gone through my listing presentation class, my listing presentation, my pre-listing presentation are exactly the same thing, minus my marketing plan. Because in listing presentation, I don't want to go over all of that because, again, most of that's about me. I want them to know all about me before I sit down and talk turkey with them. Make sure, number 11, all the decision makers are there. It's frustrating to walk in. Husband's there, wife is working. I'm not walking out with a listing because I have to have both signers. So depending on your business and how you run your business, I have very few pre-listing appointments. Yeah, I go and I do everything in one appointment. I'm in and out. That's the nature of my referral-based business. You know, I'm not competing for the listing. Okay, but a lot of us are. So this is what we do when we're competing for the listing. Closing to an appointment. Yeah, in sales, we talk about the ABCs. Always be closing, right? You're constantly closing. If you're not closing at least 5 times in an appointment, you're not trying. Your higher productive agents will always close quickly and close multiple times. Create a sense of urgency as best you can. Some people you can't do that with, but you usually can. Ask for the business. Boggles my mind how many agents will do everything right and then not ask for the business, buyer or seller. Yeah, it's a hard question to ask. I know. I've been through it. Yes, skip the scripts. But all of these are closes. So on page 34 are your 10 classics. Find 1 or 2 that suit your personality style. I can never be a hard closer. That's not me. That's not who I am. I'm a soft close. I like the indirect close. I love the assumptive close. So, and I use the assumptive close more often than not. So, and not even, it sounds like we should meet. So when would you like to do this? Yeah. I'm available, you know, Thursday and Friday afternoons work really well for me. How about you? It's like, I've just done a bang up job on what I need to show you. You'd be a fool to list with anybody else. When are we going to do this? Objection handlers, always there. Every seller's going to push back at least a little. Some do it for sport. When a question gets asked, you answer it. When objection comes up, you simply handle it. So what's your commission? Well, we list for 6%. Okay, I don't tell them what I offer a buyer side because it's none of their business, in my opinion. Now, will I walk away for less than 6%? Good chance. Will you? That's your business model. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you if you're not making 2.5% per side, you're out of business. You're out of business soon, unless you're doing mega volume. And at that point, you're working a lot harder for your money than I am for mine. There are agents that do more business than me. I still make more money than most of those agents. Yeah, so it's important. Don't be a cut rate realtor. If they ask if you'll do it for less, just say no. A lot of times that ends it right there. In other classes, I show you how I avoid that question entirely. I very rarely get it answered. If their bottom line is acceptable at a 6% commission, they usually won't push. Now, if they aren't moving forward, simply ask them what's stopping them. And if it's commission, which sometimes it is, and this is why, I only do one appointment usually. Why do twice what you can do once, But let's say you're in the scenario where you're closing for the listing appointment, they bring it up early. Try to defer it to then, to when you have a contract in hand. Okay. But if you have to, simply give them what I call the commissionectomy. And we do a separate class on that. But you've got to know your value proposition, or you will not get paid 6%. Okay. You have to know your elevator speech. I know why I'm worth 6%. I have no problem enunciating that to anybody that'll listen. If you can't do that, you ain't never getting paid 6%. Yeah, unless you're listing your mom's house. We're going to skip role play and practice here because, again, this is the 3-hour version of Win with Sellers. Yeah. Since this is a recorded class, we're going to kind of skip ahas, but I do want you to think of the one thing out of this first chapter that you're going to take and implement in your business. Quan asked what my opinion of those with a price menu. I hate it. If you're offering to do anything at 1%, you should be out of the business. Yeah, I said it. Okay. You have no value proposition and you just need to be out of this business. I'll do 3% all day. I have no idea what you want to pay the other side. Okay, I listed 6%. The lowest I will ever go is 5%, but you can rest assured I'm keeping 3%. Nobody gets different levels of service. You get all of me or you don't get any of me. It really is as simple as that. Anything less, I can't guarantee the outcome. Yeah. I get it, Mr. Seller. Not everybody can afford a Cadillac. Yeah. Sometimes you got to buy that 72 Pinto. And yeah, sure, it'll probably get you where you're going, but it might not. The ride certainly isn't going to be as nice and it might explode. I'm not going to be responsible for that. And I'm not going to give you 72 Pinto service. I'm going to give you the Escalade service. So, if you're in the market for a 72 Pinto, knock yourself out. I'm not the guy for you. And that's okay. I don't have to have every listing I go on. All right, the pre-listing. We're going to go over this very quickly because I'm not a big pre-listing guy. But if you choose to use this and have a powerful pre-listing package, and they have time to review it, the biggest problem is they don't usually review it before you meet. So it's kind of useless. But if you use it and you say, hey, I'm going to have a package delivered to you, make sure you deliver it when or before you say so. Don't be afraid of delivering it to them at work. Deliver it in person. Depending on where it is, make an impression. And it's a buy-in as well, because again, that's your marketing. That is all about you. Okay, you're pre-selling yourself and you're saving some time because, it will go over a few points that I would normally go over in a strict listing presentation. But usually, to be brutally honest, with my listing presentation, the way my business is run, I never get to it. Yeah, on the rare occasion I am going through it. By the time I'm on page 3, they're just like, let me sign the contract. Yeah, they're done. So what should be in your pre-listing package? Well, objections on price recommendations, that's one. But to decide what's in there is, will you review it in the listing consultation, in a separate consultation? If so, then it shouldn't be there. Does it eliminate the need for it in the listing consultation? Then it should be in there. Is it a primer for education? Then it should be in there. So most of you have seen my listing package, and if you haven't, just email me, Tony Ragazzi at kw.com. I'm happy to share it with you in an editable format. Again, success leaves clues. I'm happy to leave as many as I can. So let me go back to price recommendations. Short of commission, this is probably the biggest objection we get, because their house is nicer than the model match next door, or, it's personal, it's emotional. This is residential real estate. It's personal and emotional. It's not about the numbers. They very well may have inaccurate information. Yeah. Oh, but the Zestimate says this. I'm like, well, when did they come and see your house? Yeah. Well, my favorite comebacks, the A in Zillow stands for accuracy. So make sure you're giving them solid, concrete information to make that rational pricing decision. Yet withhold that until the listing consultation, if at all possible. If I haven't seen it, I'm not giving them a number. We have a lot of tools in our arsenal to create a powerful price point. Trend graphics, which we went over today at the meeting. I can never, Stephen Thomas, thank you. Stephen Thomas report, great tool. That's in every one of my listing presentations. Yeah. And what's better is it's a third party validating what we're saying. So it's not all me. You're getting multiple people providing data. So if you've gone on listing presentations in the past, I want you to think of the objection that you handle most frequently and write it down. The most frequent for me is commission. Second most frequent is price. Now, I want you to think on how you could handle it better. What in your pre-listing package could you put in, or your listing package, depending on how you do it, to handle this objection better, especially if it's something you hear every time, or most times. And those are the two I hear every time. And I have something in my listing package that addresses it. And usually it's Stephen Thomas or Trend Graphics. Commission, I don't address in my listing package. Pricing is what I get mostly that I address in the pre-listing package. The 4 table legs of value, I think everybody's heard me explain that. That addresses effective pricing. Next, we have your value proposition. This is going to speak to things you do for your sellers that satisfy their needs, add value to their lives, and add value to their transaction. Okay. This reinforces the message that your service is focused on them. It's not all about us. Ego is the biggest enemy to a real estate agent. Yeah. We do this long enough, we start believing our own PR. Okay. It's not about me, it's about you. If you have not yet written out your value proposition, do so. Do so as soon as this class is over. It's very important. Your unique selling proposition is about features and benefits you bring to the table. What makes you different from me or competitors? This is going to take into account your personal and professional background and not necessarily only real estate related. You know, you might be an investor, so you know about how that works. You might, have something else to bring to the table that you know about that will help you in this type of transaction. Okay, could be education, could be special interest, talent, skills, wherever. So add that to your value proposition piece of paper. Page 49, seller homework. So I like to get it all done at once. But if I have any lead time before the meeting, I'm going to ask them to bring a couple of things to the meeting. Okay. If they're in a trust, I want a copy of the trust. I want a bank statement and that not bank statement, a mortgage statement and that information. Because guess what? When we get to escrow is going to need that. They need to know where to send the demand. And see, now we're all the way through chapter 2. Now into chapter 3, the actual listing presentation. I can't stress enough how important it is to not do this on the fly. While I can do a listing appointment in my sleep, and I have, I've dreamed about them. When I do one on the fly that I'm not mentally prepared for, I lose. So it's important to take the time, be early to the office to prepare it, be early to the home, ready yourself for what you're about to do. Get yourself in the right frame of mind. Know your scripts, if you will, but know your materials, understand the market. You can't fake that. Be a consultant, not just a salesperson. So always confirm the appointment. Nothing sucks worse than showing up and nobody's there. We go in here. One second here. Let me go back a little bit. We're kind of out of sync with the PowerPoint. In your workbook, I'm on page 56. Understand the market. It's really important. We provide you tools. We tell you where to go. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. Know how much is for sale. Know that your inventory, is it going up, is it going down? Days on market. in our market, price per square foot really isn't a good indicator, and you should never be using it in residential real estate. Changes in the local landscape, are people leaving California like rats on a sinking ship? Well, yes. And that impacts housing. Santa Ana starting rent control on the 1st of this year. Pasadena likely doing it next month. Things like that you need to be aware of. How are you aware of it? You come to office meetings, you come to the office and talk with us that are in the market every day. Page 57. Be a consultant, not just an agent. Be a friend. Ask questions rather than telling them what to do. Well, I told you earlier, I tell my clients what to do, but I ask questions first. Okay. I don't tell them what I want them to do that benefits me. I tell them what I want to do that benefits them, almost like my kids. It's for your own good. Some people you have to help them self-discover. Okay. Got to kind of lead them there, hold their hand to there, and that's okay too. Set expectations and exceed them. Page 59, the consultation. Of course, we always want to confirm the appointment. Usually text is the best way to do that. If you gave them homework, hey, make sure that, they did that. They have the documentation ready for you. If you're on a phone call, hey, listen for signs that, they may be waffling or, they didn't divulge everything. Because, old saying, buyers are liars, sellers are fools is still very true. Adopt a yes mindset. I want to give them everything they want, if it's at all possible. And I go into the listing knowing I'm walking away with this listing. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay. That confidence is so important. Whether you're fond of affirmations, habits, whatever it takes to put you into that mindset, use it. I'm not a big affirmations guy. I'm a big reality guy. Okay, for me, there ain't nobody better. I know that. I need to make them know that. That's my job. If I do that effectively, I'm going to win far more than I lose. Enter and tour the house. Arrive early and tour the neighborhood. Diana Kokoska, founder of MAPS Coaching, one of the things she told me one time, she was a mega agent in her own right, and she'd have a 2:00 appointment. She would wait till 2:00. She'd show up 5, 10, 15 minutes early, sit, get her mind right, maybe review her notes or her package, make sure it's complete and the details that they're going to talk about. And she made sure at 2:00, she's knocking that door. Hi, Mr. Seller. My name's Diana Kokoska, and we had a 2:00 appointment. It's 2:00. I'm here for you. Okay. And while it sounds a little silly, fun, lighthearted, as it should be, it also reinforces, hey, I do what I tell you I'm going to do. Okay. Subtle and at reinforcing that. Kitchen table is the best place for the consultation because that is usually where they're most comfortable. You can kind of tell as you walk in. It might be there, might be the living room. Those are really the only two places to do it. at some point before you get to the contract, you need to see the house. Yeah, so have a notepad with you. Take that, unless you have a really good memory, take the notepad with you and jot things down. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, issue in the roof there. You're almost kind of pre-doing your Avid even. But notes at what is there, especially if you see something different than the data you have. Oh, it has 2 baths, not 1, or it has 1, not 2. Important stuff. Compliment them on their home. That's their pride and joy after all. But be sincere too. Don't say, my, that's a lovely shade of purple. Begin the conversation. That's usually the hardest part, is getting started. Hardest part of anything is getting started. Love this on page 63. While presenting your materials, don't forget you're in a conversation. This isn't a lecture. It isn't one way. Make sure you're asking questions at the same time. Middle of the page. The Keller Williams consultant tells clients what they need to hear, not just what they want to hear. I'm not a yes man. I will deliver to you the bad news with a smile, with compassion, and with options if there are any. But I'll tell you what you need to hear. Uncover and prioritize their needs. Now, again, a lot of times we're doing all this in the first conversation. Or we're doing it all in one conversation. Okay, but this is, finding out the what, where, why, and how. We talk about going 3D. I don't always go 3D. Ask a question, get an answer. If I'm reading that there's something more there, I'll probe. If not, I'm done. On to the next. I'm not going to say, what will that do for you? I will not say, what will that ultimately do for you? Because most people are like, shut up, I just answered that. Separate needs versus wants. More prevalent in a buyer than in a seller. Everybody's heard me tell the story about rock roofs, even though you very rarely see those these days. When I started, they were prevalent. I had many buyers tell me, I absolutely will not buy a house with a rock roof. Well, bottom line, what's underneath that roof is more important than the roof itself. And I've sold many of those homes with rock roofs. Okay, because you got to go beyond that. Get to know your buyers well, and I know this is one with sellers, but you get to know your buyers in particular well, and they shouldn't be in your car more than once without writing an offer. Very rarely are they in my car more than once. Check for commitment. How committed are they to selling their homes? Are they with you? Are they ready to do this? Will I do a listing appointment with someone who may not be ready to sell today? Yes. I won't like it, but I will do it. But the probing questions initially, where are you going and when do you have to be there? That is going to give you an idea of when to do that listing appointment. I would still rather do it sooner rather than later. Let's say I've got a seller that needs to be wherever they need to be by July 1st. Well, they probably should list today. So maybe that's not a good example. Let's say they need to be there by October 1st. Okay, well, realistically, if we price it right, you have time. If we don't price it right, it needed to be on the market in January. But If it's not a repeat or referral customer, I want to secure that contract today. So if you need to be somewhere by October 1st, and I have right here our average marketing time, and this is for homes that are priced right, is 60 days. Okay, add 30 to 45 days for escrow. So let's round it up to 90 to give us some wiggle room here. Okay, and you need to be listed by June. Okay, and you got maybe a couple weeks for some painting and staging or fixing a few things. So we need to start working on this in May. Well, we're about 2 months away. Why don't we do everything today? I will help you with the referrals for construction and handyman and whatnot. We just simply write a contract that starts on May 15th. Okay. If you want to cancel, for whatever reason, your plans change, hey, we'll cancel. We'll let you out of the agreement. But let's just get everything done up front so we're all on the same page. That's okay. You can do that. Objection handling. Okay. We do this all the time, every day. Page 67. Be calm and logical. Okay. Be very specific if you don't know. And as a newer agent, you're not going to know everything, and that's okay. I hate saying I don't know. I've always hated saying I don't know. The newer you are, the more you say it. Always follow it, but I know where I can get that answer. Give me 24, 48 hours, whatever you need, and I will get that to you. And do not ever get attached to the outcome. That causes stress. Oh, I lost X amount of dollars. Well, because of these escrows that fell out. Well, no, you didn't lose anything because you don't have anything until escrow closes. Four-step response to an objection. Okay. Be glad you're hearing it. I want to hear your concerns. Okay. Because I want to give you the warm and fuzzies about this as much as I can. So, yes, I understand your concern, and this is why that's not a problem, or why you shouldn't be concerned, or let me worry about that kind of thing. Ask for the close. Okay. Go back and find where you've addressed that objection in the process in your package, or if you haven't addressed it in your listing package, what can you add to address that? Set and exceed expectations. We're on page 69. Okay, go for the win-win. Okay, that's number one in our Y4 C2Ts for a reason. Okay, after you've done your presentation, if they're not clamoring to sign a contract, now you got to watch for reactions. Are you making a connection? No connection, no contract. Okay. Have you built rapport, or is it still very cold up in there? Can you meet their needs? Do you want to meet their needs? That answer might be no. In which case, it's okay to walk away. If there's not a connection, and let's say I just don't like these people. I don't have to do business with them. I get Mr. Seller. Maybe another agent is going to be a better fit for you. I've got one or two I can recommend that you interview. Try to at least get a referral fee out of it. One thing that I've learned over my lifetime, you're not going to connect with everybody. I connect with a lot of people, but you're not going to connect with everybody. And it's okay to walk away. And it's hard to walk away from a listing appointment without the listing, but it's okay because that transaction is going to be like pulling teeth. You're going to get the phone call. And you're going to see that name and you're going to cringe. I don't want to talk to them. That's not a way to do business. It's okay. Negotiate to resolve any issues. Okay, that's usually fairly quickly, but after the end of your presentation, if you're unsure, ask, have we addressed everything that you wanted to address? Are we, and then go into the close. Are we ready to proceed? Is there any reason not to go ahead with this? Anything we need to do before we get started? Do you want me to handle the sale for you? Need a pen? However you're comfortable doing it, and have your contract ready. Print your contract, be, the assumptive close. I'm going there, I'm walking away with the listing. So now, congratulations, you won the listing. Now you got to start servicing it. Okay.
Hello,
Other
Quantum.
options? You'll win the next one. Hey, I lose
Hello?
too sometimes. Not often, but I do. Or maybe, they're still kind of on the fence. Maybe they weren't truly committed to selling, or maybe you just didn't wow them enough and they're not totally sold on you yet. It's going to be one of the three outcomes. So your homework, page 72, prepare a listing consultation if you haven't already. And if you'd like input on it, feel free to email it to me for review. Happy to give you input. So chapter 4, we're going to assume we've won the listing. Now what? Marketing and servicing. All right. So in the MREA, there's a great quote from Gary: virtually every top producing agent we have ever worked with has a deep and almost inherent sense of service. They have a servant's heart and place their buyers, sellers, real estate experience above all else. Always think service. I've got to echo that. Every great agent I've ever come across with has the servant's heart. Most of you know I'm a pretty religious man, and I believe we all have a purpose, and I believe this is mine. I was put here to serve others. I've put here to serve buyers and sellers, and I've put here to service you, our agents. That's what I'm good at. That's what makes me happy. So that comes above all else. And you do the right things for the right reasons, and good things happen. Service elements wrap around everything you do for your sellers. It's going to build trust, create a great client experience, and create clients for life, which I'm fortunate to have. It's my highest value proposition. Whoa. So in the MREA, Gary Keller writes the top agent service approach is described on 3 levels: purpose, value proposition, and fiduciary. Okay. So your masters of service, we have a clear understanding of why we should be hired and can articulate it to anybody at any time. That's our elevator speech, as we call it. Okay. Why should I list with you? Boom. This is why. We know our value proposition. Okay. And we're a fiduciary. We place the seller's interest ahead of everybody's, including and especially my own. Okay. Look for what sellers want most. And according to the NAR, and the numbers vary slightly, but it's always the same: market the home, sell the home within the time frame, price it competitively, and find a buyer for their home. So make sure your value proposition addresses those 4 areas. Your 3 levels of service wrap around those 4 tasks. So service standards, let's talk about that. Standards are very important. Top of page 77. Well, first let's explain what standard is: a yardstick of your performance, a measure of how well you're doing. Okay. What are your service standards and how are you accountable to them? So there's a myth in this business: my clients will only work with me, only I can deliver quality of service. And I used to believe that too, until I lost a long-term client. Oh, I guess not. Your clients aren't loyal to you, they're loyal to the standards you represent. If you're not representing those standards, they'll go somewhere else. They'll also go somewhere else if you abandon them. So communication is huge. Lack of communications cause more issues in a real estate transaction, in the real estate industry, than anything else. Continually giving them the warm and fuzzies, I like to say. Okay. Very hard to over communicate. So that's going to provide your foundation, and it's going to allow you to set and manage expectations. Most importantly, again, create peace of mind, create the warm and fuzzies. It's going to demonstrate your professionalism. Okay. And it's going to enhance your credibility. I always say never hang up the phone or end an email with a client without letting them know what the next step is in the process. Even if that's what you were talking about, let them know. Got to be clear. Highly productive listing agents develop, document, and they train their teams when you get to be that big to maintain the highest standards of service possible. It's what I do at the Regazzi Realty Group. I've worked on these standards for 35 years. I expect my team to maintain them, and they do. Just as if I wasn't here. If it's not something they want to do, they're probably not a fit for my team. Okay. Do I work differently than other agents? Yeah, we all work differently. The basics should be roughly the same. Team service, again, you get that from your team leader. If you're the team leader, then you must be positively service-minded. Okay. You must be great with conversations. You must be confident and respectful of your clients and pay close attention to details. If you're thinking about creating a team, you must have service standards, and they really should be in writing. Okay. We go deeper into setting the standards in Jeff Simon's customer experience class. If you haven't taken it, highly recommend it. Awesome class by an awesome instructor. But if you have a team under you, remember they represent you. All of their business cards has my name on it. Regazzi Realty Group. My branding's important. My reputation's important. I get deals from my reputation. I keep clients because of my reputation. So you will too. It's not just me. Page 80, problem resolution. So sometimes that can get sticky. Focus on facts, not emotions. And again, don't be attached to the outcome. If the outcome is the whole thing blowing up, the outcome is the whole thing blowing up. Oh, well, next. If it was your fault, which will happen, hey, I'm not perfect. I screw up. Own it. Apologize. Yeah, I'm sorry. That one's on me. I try not to provide excuses, even if I had a valid excuse. That one's on me. Yeah. And sometimes their concern is a little bit beyond that. So, again, go deep with it. Find out what their real fear or real concern is. And then once you have clarity, be very quick to resolve it and learn from it. Marketing. So unlike the last few years, we actually have time to market our listings. Yeah, it's a great tool because that's how we get multiple deals. Yeah, every listing should bring you at least one other transaction, and often two. So you're marketing your brand, you're marketing your listing at the same time. And it's a big reason why we focus on listings, and it's much easier to build a business on listings than how I did it and base it on buyers. Okay, you work less hard, but I'm a workaholic, so I do buyers. If you focus on marketing your seller listings, the buyers are going to come. Okay. Every piece of marketing you create should have your brand on it, your slogan, your logo. If you don't have one, get one. A tagline, a mission statement. We don't go over mission statements here, but create a mission statement. Every business I know of has one. I share mine all the time. My mission is to provide quality real estate guidance with the utmost integrity, honor, and respect, ensuring a smooth, confident closing. I want to be the person you look to for all of your family's real estate needs, from this generation to the next and beyond. I will accomplish this by keeping up to date on the latest market trends, legal changes, and local issues, by being accessible by various methods, by being accountable for my actions, and most importantly, by being there for you. That's why I offer trust, integrity, and confidence when you need it most. Okay. That last part being my tagline. You'll find that on a lot of my marketing materials. Not the entire mission statement, but the tagline. Have a logo. You saw that on page 1 of this. Yeah. And over time, the brand will get recognizable, especially, local. So marketing consists of 5 parts: your marketing plan, your marketing message and methods, managing a marketing budget, staging, and pricing. So on page 82 is a sample from the MREA of a 14-step marketing plan for listing, and mine is 20. Okay. You can copy this, you can add to it, you can subtract from it if you're not comfortable with it, tweak it, change the verbiage, but it should be at least this long. Message and method. Message is what you say, method is where you say it. Okay, so the message got to be interesting, it should be distinctive, make your listing stand out so it generates more interest. There's so many opportunities for the where and how. I mean, internet, web pages, social networking, signs, open houses, billboards, TV commercials. I mean, if you really want to go big, none of us really do that though. Where would you go? If you're not in real estate, where would you go to find a house? Okay. Then ask yourself, this question, am I marketing there? If you aren't, maybe it's time to start. Managing a budget. We're all on a budget, especially in this market, especially in this shift. So hold your marketing dollars accountable. Your top agents test and track the effectiveness of each method. We revisit it all the time to make sure we're not throwing money away. And if we find something that really works, double down on it. If you haven't done this before, then talk to an agent that does. We'll tell you. We'll tell you what's working for us. So at least give you a good idea of where to start. Staging. More and more prevalent. I'm not a big stager, but the numbers are there. Staging works. But staging isn't always adding to. Oftentimes it's taking away from. Okay. You've likely heard me say, and I say this to every seller, the more of your baseboards you see, the more your list price you're going to see. That's very, very simple, and that's very, very true. So declutter. See all the pictures on the wall? Hey, they're beautiful frames, and I know this is your family, but get rid of half of them. Yeah. Keep things clean, keep the edges clean, keep things off the floor, keep things off the walls. Yeah, you got 5 pictures on that nightstand, maybe 1, maybe. Okay. Start boxing things up now. You're moving. Now, the minute my sign goes in the yard, the home isn't yours anymore. So let's start the process. Light, bright. Yeah. I tell my sellers when they leave the house, make sure every light is on. If they're a fan of 40-watt bulbs, bring them a box of light bulbs. Change every one. I like hundreds. Goal of staging is simply to present the best face of the home. Maximize the good features, minimize the bad. I won't go into the numbers of it, but it works. We'll skip to page 89, pricing. Now, pricing is a process. Learning to do it well requires a lot of things. You got to know what sells. You got to know how to do a proper CMA. You have to know how to calculate the differences between comparables. You don't have to be an appraiser. That helps, but you don't have to be one. There's no point, a little point, of winning a listing if it ain't going to sell. So you got to be priced in the market. And we talked about the 4 legs of 4 table legs of selling a home: price, condition, market, and location. Remember that. Well, remember the location I can't do a thing about. Can't move it. The market, I can't do a thing about. I can only interpret it. Condition, I can do something about, but we may not want to or be able to for financial or various reasons. Price is the only thing that we can do something about, and it fixes all 4 issues. Again, I can sell a burnt out hulk of a house for the right price. So that's their importance in reverse order. Know what you can and can't control. You have to understand what is selling. Like today, and I never thought I'd see the day when this was the case. Flip or Flop is probably the worst show in the world because of what it's done to our real estate market. Now, people expect homes to actually look that way, or they're not paying full price. In some cases, not even offering on it. So it is what it is, but if I'm not in the market, I don't know this. Understand you have a small window of opportunity. The market has a very short memory. Your first few weeks, that is prime time. If you go beyond that, you're overpriced, you're very special, or you're in horrible condition. And you're probably not even going to get market value for your home at that point. Great question, Juan. Can you control the conditions by fixing up the place? Yes. Okay. But does the owner have the money to? Okay, that's what I mean. Sometimes we're unable to do it for those kind of reasons. Maybe it's a gut to the studs remodel. Hey, guess what? You're bargain pricing that one. But let's just say we're dated but functional. Those are the hard ones. Okay. That pink tile in the bathroom that was great in 1972 still looks like it was just put in last week, but nobody wants it. Okay. So I got to blow out a bathroom and spend 10 grand on it. I might not do that. But I'm not going to get market value of a tricked out shaker cabinet type place. So understanding that trade-off and also understanding how to price it appropriately. Hey, this is functional, but nobody wants it, so there's no demand for it. Price to reflect market movement. Okay, know your seasons, know which way the market's going. And again, trend graphics, Stephen Thomas, just being in the market, looking at the MLS, find which way the market's moving and how fast it's moving. Do not chase the market price always ahead of it. Are we in a declining market today? Yes. We're in the busy part of a declining market, but we're still in the declining market. So if we have a model match at 750 that closed in December, I'm actually going to want to list at 740, not 750. Maybe 745. Okay, because we're going the other way. We're not used to that. Newer agents are not used to that. Do not be afraid to be professionally and sometimes brutally honest. Okay. Some sellers, need that gentle landing. Okay, and I will do that. I mean, I'm more for brutal honesty, but sometimes I'll lay the pillow out for them to land on. They need to know the cold hard truth, though. We are on chapter 5. We're almost there. Offers and negotiations. So receiving an offer, obviously huge event, especially if we get more than one. And you need to prepare for how to present that. And this is where I usually tell the sellers what to do. Okay. I believe it's my job to determine what's best for them. Okay. Not everybody believes that way. I do. I'm going to, if I've got multiple offers, I'm going to go through and look. Obviously, bottom line is very important. Sometimes it's not the most important thing, but it's certainly, if not number one, it's number two. Who these people are, who the agent is, unfortunately, is a factor. I mean, I had a listing a year or two ago that I had 14 offers. The best 2 were substantially equal. We took the one from that wasn't from the agent I knew was going to be a pain in the butt through the entire deal, simply because of that. So reputation matters. Not just for clients, it matters for agents too. So by law, we must present all offers, even the ridiculous ones. Now, there's a way to do that. Say, hey, do you want to see all the ridiculous offers that didn't even come in at list price? No? Okay, good. Now you've done your due diligence. Don't let them sit. I mean, during the ridiculous market, people were accumulating offers for 10 days. That's not fair to anybody. That doesn't solve anything. All offers must be in writing, so your responses should be in writing too. Don't be afraid of countering. And what's not on this on page 95, always if you're in multiple offers, make sure you have a number two. Make sure you have a backup. Because I'm completing more transactions from a backup position than ever in my career. We won't go over make sure the offer contains, because we do that in contracts class. When you get multiple offers, it can get really confusing. I have a little Excel spreadsheet where I can put, okay, who the offer's from, who the agent is, price, terms, closing date, termite report. Are they asking for appliances? Anything miscellaneous that's weird that I need to know. So that way, just all in one right there, I can look at it. Okay, this one makes more sense. So again, you have three options: accept, reject, or counter, and the vast majority is a counter, either on price or terms or simply services. Not going to go over the scripts because, hey, it's a pretty easy conversation. Hey, we've got an offer. Unless, hey, we've got our first offer in a month and it's $100,000 under list. Okay, that's going to tell you, hey, we're overpriced. So it's actually a different conversation and an opportunity to show them, hey, you're overpriced. Most people are very quick to reject something that far beneath list price. If it's an investor flipper, yeah, you probably will. But if it's a owner occupied, don't be afraid to counter. Yeah, like 30 stuff. Yeah, you never know. Some people want to go in low, but hey, if they come back with reality, yeah. How many buyers have we worked with that want to lowball everything? This might be one of those, even though that they might be willing to pay for what they want. So the negotiation process should be very professional. Yeah. Because remember, you and the buyer's agent have one single goal: a signed contract and a closed escrow. On the buy side, I love to talk to the listing agent and ask them more about the scenario, what the seller wants, what the seller needs. And real estate agents love to talk. They love to show how much they know. I'm happy to ask a couple questions, sit back and let them tell me everything they shouldn't tell me. And now I can write a great offer for my buyer. And I kind of know, because they showed me all or most of their cards, I know how far I can push. I know how far I can negotiate. And that's not the only negotiation, but an example that relates to that. I'm in a transaction now where, we are 3.5 weeks into a 30-day escrow, and we just got the appraisal back Monday, and it was short. And the seller obviously doesn't want to accept the lower price, but we're going to walk away if he doesn't, because in this market, why would you pay for something more for something that it's actually worth? But they've got an up leg they got to close, so they're pushed. If they didn't, it would be a harder negotiation, but they have to be somewhere at the end of the month. Advantage buyer. So I can be firm in that, hey, you don't take it, we're walking. Yeah, I can find my buyer something else at a right price. So that's the plan. Yeah, know your options. Continually refer back to motivation. So if we're dealing with, say, an offer significantly below list price, again, you got to go back to the seller's motivation and say, hey, is this viable? Can we do this? Don't you need to be here by this date? Yeah, this is the first offer is usually your best. I told you we were overpriced. The market's now proving it to us. So now finalize the contract. Now this isn't a contracts class. We do that separately. In fact, we just did the listing contract class yesterday. So make sure it's complete. Okay, that's for compliance. Make sure something is not to be added later. Check for sloppy language. That's the big thing.
That's very, very cool.
Again, getting close, contract to close. So now, big picture, bulletproofing the contract. We talked about this a lot. Bulletproofing the contract to close phase requires a strategic market and skill set as well as practical working checklists. Now I've created a file checklist that helps me tremendously. If you're in Tustin, it's not on your intranet. I'm happy to send them to you. If you're in Brea or Yorba Linda, it is. You can simply download it from the intranet. As you know, I don't use a transaction coordinator. It's imperative that I follow this checklist. Assume everything's going to go wrong. Come up with ways to prevent it.
You're talking about the Lafayette.
There's our quote from Gary.
Those are all.
Now, the contract to close flow chart, if you will. We go over that in the buyer process. It's very similar for the seller. But you need to know these terms: clear title, underwritten loan, closing disclosure, possession and recording. So clear title, this we should have addressed before we signed the listing contract. Make sure that we have the proper sellers and their signatures. When we get the title report, review that they're the ones on title, and that there's nothing funky that showed up, a judgment, or a lien that was unexpected. When you get it and there's something unexpected, ask, hey, did you know about this? Has this been taken care of? And sorry, Quan, I just saw this. Excellent. Backup offers. Yes. And there is a form. There's the BUO, backup offer. So if you've decided on your number one, but again, we want to keep a number two, sign it as a backup offer, use the BUO form, and that guarantees you your number one backup. So that way you don't have to go back to market. It's perfectly okay because it also gives you leverage against the offer that you're in escrow with. Hey, I got a backup offer that's just as good as yours. I'm not doing anything to this property. They're going to take the property as is. So you need to too. If you don't want to, that's cool. Cancel. I'll go with this one. Okay. So yes, definitely pay attention that they're similar and always have a conversation with that buyer's agent. Hey, are they going to continue to look, which they probably are? Would you let me know if you find something and you're out on this? Okay, then I can approach maybe the next one, or maybe, hey, I'm just not going to have one, and now I've got to be a little more flexible with the escrow I'm in. Okay, so it's going to depend on that as well. But the BUO is the form that you'd be looking for. Yeah, so here's your flow chart pretty much. Receive the offer, Make sure the deposit is received in an escrow. Help coordinate inspections and the appraisal. You should be the contact on the appraisal. Follow for loan approval. Follow for contingency removal. And you can, but I typically wouldn't tell the buyer's agent that you have backup offers until it's time to negotiate, a repair request or anything else that they may ask. But there's certainly no harm in doing it. If it comes up in a conversation, then yes, mention it, because that way, hey, they know they're on a short leash. And then, like I said, appraisal, final underwriting, close and coordinate possession. Buyer conducts our final walkthrough, recording. Here's your keys. This one talks about receive your payment from lawyer. Some states are attorney closed states. We are not, so don't worry about that. And we're skipping to page 112. So how do you leave a good impression? Okay. Well, gratitude is great. Closing gifts are nice. Thanking them is an absolute. And all of that will ensure the warm and fuzzies. It will lead to referrals, but you got to ask. Yeah. Say, hey, hopefully I've done a good job, or you're happy with the job I did, and I would love to help anybody else that you may know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Yeah. I'll leave you a small supply of my business cards in case you run across somebody. I just appreciate you sharing my information with them. Okay. Oops. Finally, the last chapter. We're actually going to leave here on time for the first time. Post-close systems, which very few people have. Okay. NAR survey of homeowners said 88% of homeowners would use the agent that sold them that home again on their next deal. Awesome numbers. Unfortunately, only 11% do, because the other 77% don't have a post-close system in place, don't have a 33 touch, they don't have command. Okay, you've done all that work and you've left it all on the table. Clients for life, that's what we want. That's what keeps me in business 35 years later. I'm 55 years old. I'm too old and fat to be door knocking every day. Okay, so I've built my business so I don't have to. Okay, I could, probably couldn't do it every day, I'd die, but I could, and I would certainly add business to my business, but I'm satisfied with the level of business I'm doing. When and how should you survey your customers? Testimonials are huge these days, and yet I'll admit I don't do them. Every mega agent I know does. I'm one of the few that don't. It's important to the youth today in particular. They'll go by a testimonial more than a referral from their best friend. I don't understand it, but they do. Yeah, so the time to do this is at closing. When you're handing them the keys, hey, I would love a brief testimonial, whether it's video or just written, on whatever website you choose. You can survey them. Some of the larger teams will send a a post-closing survey, especially if the team leader's not the one handling the transaction. Hey, how did my person do? It's important for me as a team leader to know that my agents are holding up my standards. So ask for them. I mean, this is another graph showing how many would use or recommend their listing agent again. I mean, the amount of deals that get really sideways in the big picture are few. Yeah. So if you look on page 120, yeah, don't have any reviews or testimonials. I have 3, I think. I have 2,400 transactions. I have 3. If you don't have, it's okay. Go back and ask. Page 121, or I'm sorry, 123, touch campaigns. Okay. Now we talked about e-edge because this class is somewhat old. It predates Command. Command is replaced and added to e-edge. So we talked about 33 touch campaign. These are smart plans. Okay, primarily smart plans. Adding physical touch to it as well. Smart plans will only give you 12 or 24 touches a year. But a thank you note, within a week, 2 weeks tops of closing. Add them to your monthly newsletter or monthly neighborhood nurture. A market snapshot, that's all on part of that smart plan. A 2-page market report, a quarterly, every 6 months. Maybe a copy of the Stephen Thomas report. Birthday cards, absolutely. Christmas cards, absolutely. Closing anniversary card, absolutely. Update my preferred vendor list. Every client of mine gets one. So whenever I update it, I send a new one out to everybody. And it's also a good opportunity to send them another dozen of your business cards. Invitation to charity fundraising events, or if you're an events type of person, do that at least once a year. About that conclusion, the complete seller service cycle. Fairly simple, broken down into chunks. Okay, this is mastery. Using this model is going to make your success predictable and scalable. It's going to save you time. It's going to generate results. Okay, it's not a to-do list, it's a cycle. So now, on page 129, recall the winner's day from the beginning a couple hours ago? Now imagine yourself a year from now. You go into the office, do what any other Monday, and see the stack of leads you're going to call. And you think about how easy it is to make an appointment with everyone that you pre-qualify. You've got a delivery person that's going to take the pre-listing packages, have them in their hands within an hour. Okay. You talk to them, you make a connection, you say the right things, you explore how you can help. When you're done, you realize you got 5 appointments booked and a great follow-up plan for the rest. All right. Everything goes well, and okay, think about this. This is your homework. I won't have you do it here online. Write your version of that day using I. Make it personal. Okay. A year's a long time. We have a lot of time to learn. And in all honesty, that post-close system is just as important as what happens in front of it. Because this is where you build clients for life. The experience that you give is what people remember. People will pay 6% for that experience. Okay. And they'll do it again and again as long as you keep in touch. And Command's great for that. I mean, I use it religiously. I close them, and then it's just an occasional raise your hand. Hi, I'm still alive and I'm still in real estate. How you doing? You know, the closing, the handoff, the cheesy photo op with the keys, you know, however you want to do it. The closing gift, I do give closing gifts. Some people, you know, hey, love logoed Cutco knives for everybody. Yeah. I buy something different for everybody. I make it personal. Because this is a personal transaction. Okay. Will I put my logo on it if I possibly can? Yes. Okay. But not necessarily, whether it's a Home Depot card or a wine basket or concert tickets, or I mean, whatever it is. I've gotten one buyers, I got him Kiss tickets. Some of my favorite buyers, first time buyers, bought a light fixer and he wasn't handy, had no tools, had plenty of video games. I went to Harbor Freight. I bought him some basic toolbox, filled it with tools and a Home Depot gift card. I spent about $300. And it was a great personalized closing gift for him. And then I actually got the wife something else. I spent about $500 total just because I really, really like these people. But again, custom to them, to the transaction. But yeah, I'll always. My investors, no, I'll admit I don't with them. They're not expecting it for one. But I treat my investors a little bit differently. You know, I take them out to lunch and I spend a little more time with them. So they don't always get a closing gift per se, but they get extra attention from me throughout the year. So that, my friends, is Win with Sellers. So take a moment and figure out who is going to hold you accountable to this. Yeah. And not just those of you here live with me. This is for video too. We all need coaches. Okay. Michael Jordan had a coach. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. I have a coach. I am a mentor. I would not be sitting here today if I didn't have a great mentor 35 years ago. It's necessary. It's easier. Don't be afraid of the cost. It's worth every penny. And whether it's a mentor, whether it's a MAPS coach, like I said, those are worth their weight in gold. You know, go get somebody. Nobody succeeds alone. We know in the Golden Ticket family, those in mentorship are, I believe the figure is 477% more productive than those who aren't. Talk about new agents only, agents under 2 years. So reach out to me. Happy to help. Happy to steer you where you need to be, whether it's a MAPS coach or a mentor. Again, we are here for you. Yeah, crazy high stat, absolutely. When I calculated the numbers, it surprised me. I mean, I knew there's a stark difference. You know, remember the ugly numbers. 88% of all new agents fail in the first 2 years, and 92% fail to renew their license after 4. Okay, the odds are against you, and that's because most people go at this by themselves. And you're signing your death warrant. Okay. You know, we're built to help you. So let us help you. Does it mean you make a little bit less upfront to establish your business? Sure. Yeah. But 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing every day of the week. So for those of you that are in business and in production, yeah, think about what of this you're going to use. What may be different than you're already using. Okay. And how you're going to change and implement what you've learned here today. So that's all I have for Win with Sellers. Thank you for spending 2.5 hours. We actually went through this quite quick. And I'll be doing this class once a quarter. I'll be doing Win with Buyers once a quarter as well. We've got the customer experience. So one other last thing I will ask from you, and should be on here, but it's not. I will ask you to go to a website, as I am a budding, there we go. So as budding KWU instructor, ask for you to go to kwueval.com, which is right here. You can do it on your mobile, you can do it on a computer, and put in the name of the course, which is Win with Sellers. The event type is Market Center, because it's a Market Center event, not a regional or national event. Then you'll hit next and go to instructors, and you will scroll all the way down to instructor not listed because I ain't there just yet. Again, my name is Tony Ragazzi, and then just rate the course, rate me as an instructor, let us know, let KWU and KWRI know what you think. Yes, kwueval.com. And those evaluations help me as I pursue that goal, and it helps Keller Williams as it constantly reviews the content that we're teaching. So thank you everybody for your time. And again, feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tony.